everyone to the LEC studio where Vitality are making a huge change coming into this week. They're up versus Excel Esports, who went 2-0 last week, but Crownshot is replacing Comp in the bot lane. What did you say, Les?
I lost sound. I'm sorry.
Oh,
right,
no worries. I thought we missed one of your golden opinions. We're going to talk, of course, about Crownshot coming in for Vitality. And we do want to open up the floor to our viewers at home. Do you think this is a good change, a good choice? Yes or no? Vote now in chat. So first off, for the people who may have missed Ready Check, LS, can you kind of explain what happened, what Crownshot was supposed to do, and how he ended up with Vitality?
Well, so Crowny was going to actually come to Korea. He was going to live with me and Nemesis. Him and Nemesis to join Gen G, the LCK team in org. And that was basically his trajectory. But unlike his Ash arrows, it didn't end up hitting. So he ended up joining Vitality less than a week ago. And I talked about it with him for several hours on different days along with other players. And I thought this was a very risky move to join Vitality. But he wants to compete. He doesn't want to just do content creation. So he took the job offer, and now he's here, and we'll see what he can end up doing. The meta is very different than where it used to be before. Marksmen are in a very different position. Predominantly, Crowny was an Aphelios and an Ezreal player. Jinx did get buffed on this patch. He does have an affinity for her as well, but I feel like it's going to be really hard for him to do anything because Marksmen aren't as strong as when he last played in summer and spring last year. And I feel like the obstacles here are going to be a lot more problematic for him.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think the meta now is more jungle support orientated. We've seen it throughout the whole start of the season. I think that the AD carry meta last year was more of a, oh, they made a mistake, I can adapt in the team fight and get some free kills and then start to carry the game, just give me everything. But I think that if your jungle support aren't supporting you enough, I think the AD carry role falls too far behind. And although I think Crowny can bring a good voice to the team when it comes to dragons and barons and setup like this, which Vitality have really been lacking, I think it might not be enough to push them over the edge that they need.
I guess that's the big question, because if we take a look at, for instance, Comp season so far, Comp is not a problem in that bot lane in terms of the role that he has to fulfill as a marksman. He was actually doing a great job for that team, but they have different problems. When you look at Vitality, for instance, I think you brought it on, we look at their gold difference, they're actually in a pretty okay position at 10 minutes and at 15 minutes, 300 gold behind, maybe 600, but then they fall off a cliff, and by 20 minutes, they just can't crawl out of that canyon anymore, LS. What is kind of happening with Vitality in terms of shot calling, you think, at that period in time, and will Crownshot and this edition be able to change that?
Well, this is where I think a lot of people's perspective is angled at here, is that what is really going to change with Crownshot here now, because yes, he is a shot caller, and yes, he can do things, and a lot of people will see it as an upgrade. The reality is that they're losing on other areas of the map where the marksman role doesn't really come in to that big of a play, and I don't understand how it's going to be assumed that he's going to change that, because while you can shot call, you have to get to a point where you're able to shot call and actually have meaningful impact, and I just don't see Vitality ever getting to that point.
Yeah, I think LS is right. I think the bot lane, the AD carry role, wasn't really the problem for Vitality. I think if you saw the stats of Comp there, you would have noticed that his CSD at 15 is high, the gold share is high, so Comp's getting the resources, he's winning his lane in 76% of the scenarios, 75% of the scenarios that he's in. And the irony is that the second they announced Crownshot, that same night, Comp actually got rank 1 on the server. So he is the #1 solo queue player in the US. So I'm not really sure if Comp was the biggest problem for Vitality, but what Vitality was lacking is a voice, and Crownshot definitely is a voice.
There we go. He does deliver a voice, and you know, we're not gonna doubt these things anymore because Magic Felix came in last game and absolutely smashed Chalk and Ulfir with Astralis, so maybe this will be the same. Let's see what the people think at home. It's very much even, 52% versus 48, yes or no, and I think that kind of sketches where we're all at, because we don't exactly know what's going on right now in the team and what they've decided to do and how they're gonna choose to approach this, but we can really only wait and see.
But I think a change is necessary, right? You're 1-6, 10th place now that Astralis has won that game, so you need to change something. I think Crownshot is definitely an upgrade to Comp. Looking at last year especially, they did play against each other a few times. I think Crownshot was one of the shining lights of SK, one of the shining AD carry players that we had in the league. So I think this is definitely an upgrade, but it's not really the update that I think Vitality needs to start pushing up the wins and getting up in the leaderboard more.
All right, let's see what happens. We'll see if Crownshot can put some gas in the Vitality tank as they take on a surging XL.
Thank you very much. Let's find out if the next newest returning player to the 2021 stage can pop off just like MagiFelix did. Obviously, a lot of eyes, a lot of talking points, a lot of pressure on Crownshot to help out Vitality here. Expectations, I mean, we're excited about it. I do like how the Analysts set it up. Crownshot is a voice, is a bit of a leader, somebody who can add some direction to the team.
Yeah, and of course, they also mentioned how he played a really excellent year on SK just last year. I mean, I was honestly shocked that he wasn't on a team starting at the start of the split here. So definitely pleased to see him back in the league and what he can actually try to bring out, especially as we start to see more compositions just in the last game, like these scaling AD carries and more of the roles than one. Team fighting is the name of the game here, and it's something Crownshot does so well.
It has been something that Excel have excelled at a little bit. I think taking some of those team compositions that have scaled, those team compositions that don't do a whole lot for a fair amount of time, and then find a way to impact, find a way to win. Will Excel get themselves a scaling comp? Let's jump into the draft.
You're so cringe, Trevor.
Now that Cringe Trevor has managed to get through the cool music, turn our sights to the drafts. Turn our sights to, again, a reminder, we are playing 11.3. Viego is still disabled. I absolutely love the Minecraft wallpaper. I've only just recently started to
Wait, he
learn.
just downloaded that too.
I saw that. It's for the memes. It's for the memes.
This guy's a prankster.
Good job, Czekolad. Wow, okay, so heavy focus here on the support pool. XL do not want to give Labrov anything in this setup. Thresh and Rel. And immediately on the other side, Vitality removing Camille and Udyr. Olaf was banned in the previous game, despite some expectations that, you know, he might drop in priority, but we've talked about this already as Olaf again finds himself in the ban pool. Teams are a little slower to make those drastic changes from patch to patch.
Yeah, it surprised me too to see those two support bans, because Labrov hasn't actually played either of them this, but he has played the Thresh, but not the Rel, rather, and now we do have that early Azir too.
Is that a setup then? Remove the champions that you don't want to go against.
I mean, I think that Rel, like, even receiving buffs on this recent patch, he's just definitely skyrocketing a little bit more. I just honestly looked at the screen wrong, and I thought there wasn't a Thresh, but there was definitely a Thresh there, so yeah, silly me.
Okay, so now please don't play Corki. I hate Azir into Corki lane matchups. It's been too many years, too many times I've seen that matchup. Let's see what Milica decides to run. It will be the Lillia and the Gangplank locked in for Vitality.
Yeah, I am a little bit more in line with Ellis's think that I would be surprised to see a lot more Corki, maybe here and there, but that was definitely a more comfortable pick for MagiFelix. So don't expect to see the Corki Azir matchup, you know, take off anytime soon. I do like a lot of the options we have from Vitality already with a lot of the jungle nerfs. I think Lillia is a really solid option here, and with Gangplank too, you have damage, you have some long-range initiation, some setup for the rest of your team. This is looking good.
And of course, the AD junglers, they're going to be looking to replace the Udyrs and the Olafs and maybe the Pantheons of the world. Graves now finds himself locked in here, expected for Dan. And we'll find out whether or not XL want to lock in either a support pick, that might explain why the Thresh and the Rel have been banned away, or get themselves a top laner. They already know what that Gangplank is, and the answer will be the top laner, the Cho'Gath locked into the Gangplank.
Yeah, that's an interesting one there, because I do think we have seen Cho'Gath in the past as an answer into the Gangplank. Not necessarily like in terms of like early links. I think like Gragas or Gangplank can be pretty happy with himself, but with that burst damage, you bring a jungler into the equation. All of a sudden, you have a lot more options and room to work with.
Want a quick stat?
Give it to me.
Kryze's Cho'Gath in the LEC in 2021 is undefeated. One game played has already done it. And as you mentioned, it is not going to be the Corki into the Azir. It's going to be the Orianna. It has been locked in for Milica, and Team Vitality will now remove yet another bot laner. So Senna taken out of the pool, looking towards Patrik.
Yeah, there's still like a Kryze open here, and I think for Vitality, they definitely want something like an Alistar or perhaps a Nautilus, Leona even in the bottom lane. A lot of these more hard engaged setup champions, because right now the top side of your map, it does have CC tools, but maybe not the most instant or reliable here with like a Gangplank ultimate coming down. So you want something you can put that Orianna ball on top of and then pick off the back line here of Excel. Interesting to see, Cho'Gath did receive some small nerfs on this most recent patch, just a little bit of damage to the Vorpal spikes, but I don't think it's lane changing here up against the Gangplank, and clearly Kryze doesn't mind it too much.
No, definitely not. And another support champion banned away. Kai'Sa's still available and open. Xayah, Senna, Leona, the final one. Where do XL take us? Kai'Sa now removed from the pool. So now we're going to start heading a little deeper down. I mean, we've seen the Ashe before.
Oh, please, if only for the memes, give me an Ashe. It's still possible. It's still possible. Everything, like the stars would align, right? Crownshot returns to the LEC the same day that LS is debuting as an analyst. And then Crowny's comment, I mean, that's everything.
Then the question you'd have to ask is LS saving or ruining the LEC? It may
I'm sure Twitch chat will find the answer.
It may hinge on that champion pick and that champion pick's results. Also, Crownshot makes his debut for Vitality. He will get the last champion lock-in. I do think when you look at the bans, when you look at the bot lane focus and the number of champions that have been removed, it's not a huge surprise to me, especially with the Gangplank picked early, allowing Cho'Gath. Patrik
I
will
think Ashe is good here. I think it's good here.
Oh!
Okay, so a little
Support?
Gragas support. Yeah, Gragas support here. Of course, his body slam takes priority over an Alistar. So if Alistar ever tries to jump in there, you simply body slam, interrupt his headbutt, and the knockback won't come through from the Alistar. So I do like that as an option here. Also gives some more hard engage tools to Excel. Right now, Excel are going to have a Cho'Gath sort of sprinting at you, a Gragas as well. Now they have the displacement effect to set up for their really potent backline here. 3 DPSers in the back.
And in order to try get around or maybe get through that front line, it's going to be the Misfortune locked in, not the Ashe. So we're not going to be able to find the source of the comet, but zoom out, do we like it?
Yeah, it's fine. I guess.
More disappointed.
Like, it works, right? You know, an All-Star, an Orianna, like these champions set up so nicely for Misfortune. That being said, there are tools like a Gragas could simply just ult to displace and interrupt that. So there are ways to work around this Misfortune for Excel, but I think Vitality have definitely put together a composition that works very well together with one another. You have a Gangplank ultimate to sort of push Excel towards you into all those AoE CC tools as well here. So Vitality have a very strong 5v5 built together, where Excel have a little bit more emphasis on individual playmaking. The Gragas, not as clear how he contributes to a team fight or how easily he syncs up with the other champions, but a lot of power in that kit.
Individual playmaking. That's not something I've seen a lot of from XL. Can they do it today as they take on Vitality? Welcome back to the Casted S for XL taking on Vitality. I'm going to pick up on the thought that we just had of can XL...
Why are you giggling, Trevor?
Breaking news! Head over to KitKat Gaming for a chance to win skins.
All right, so you're laughing because you're about to sell out. I see how it is.
No, I wasn't ready for that. And if you are following LEC Official on Instagram, KitKat Gaming are doing a behind the scenes with yours truly. I've taken some shots. Medic has helped out. The Analyst Desk has helped out.
This is where I have to debate how much I love my job and how much I want to keep calling you for selling out.
Can I get you in a post? Could I feature you?
You could put me in a post.
Okay,
sure.
yeah, it's nice.
I'll sell out too.
I'll do that after. Nice, that's what I like to hear. I prefer to call it buying in. I think it's a more optimistic, positive spin in it, right? It's just the inverse. Can I throw some numbers at you? So you know XL have a winning record, right? 4 wins and 3 losses. And you know XL, you talked a little bit about them needing to be proactive, individual ability. And you know why I said they don't do that a lot?
Yeah.
Take a look at XL's early game stats. First tower, never, hasn't happened. Goal difference of 15, minus 2k. Kill to death at 15, 0.71.
I'm going to be honest with you, Trevor. I never look at the actual stats. I just look at like what ranking it is, and I see 10th place a lot. So I assume that's not great for the early game.
It is absolutely not. You have truly learned a lot from your quick stats lessons with me.
I'm really curious if anyone actually looks at the real stats or if they just look at the rankings too. But I will say, like, for Excel, for what it's worth, like, their individual laning has been, you know, weak compared to a lot of the other LEC teams, but they know how to play, and that's, you know, playing for the late game, building these comps that scale very well themselves. And I think that's exactly the way they need to be playing. You know, go to your strengths, don't try to patch up weaknesses and change what does make you good in ways here, and it has worked. They're positive on the season.
Yeah, and that's what surprises me a lot. And it's also why you need to have context around any of the stats and any of the numbers, which is why the ones I do are traditionally just for humor and not actually seriousness. But to have a winning record and to be able to excel in the mid to late game, find those team fights that are important, and importantly, I'll try my best not to, it's just kind of stuck in my head at the moment, but more importantly, be able to put yourself in a position where your opponents cannot get further ahead. Now, will Excel be able to change that in this draft with this composition? We already see Szygenda, he was pushing real hard into Kryze's Cho'Gath, and he's bullied him all the way back to his tower.
And this is where the draft is going to look very strange for a lot of people, because like Cho'Gath does get bullied really hard in this lane, and I think some of the best tools Cho'Gath has for withstanding the lane, not really his abilities, but rather his passive that does give him some sustain options. He is also going to be running the Doran shield, because early on, you cannot trade against the GP. The true damage on his passive, the repeatability of his Q, just his auto attacks are going to be doing a whole lot to you. If you are Kryze, realistically, where this champion makes a little bit more sense in the concept of this lane is the amount of burst damage you get at level 6. Also, very likely building these movement speed mythic items where you want to sprint at your opponent. And then when a Graves gets into the equation, you have a ton of damage. You can punish this Gangplank and look for kills, but in the 1v1, it is really rough for the time being.
Well, Kryze for the time being is 7 CS down. Small disadvantage. We caught a brief glimpse there of Milica and Czekolad trading, and that rupture is just not going to come.
Yeah, you look at it, right? Like, Szygenda resets his passive by proccing the barrel, and then he gets all the movement speed there, too, and can dodge away from these really slow-moving, predictable ruptures from the Cho'Gath. So if he does land the Q, Kryze, of course, is going to take a huge chunk of the health bar of a Gangplank, but realistically, that shouldn't be happening in this matchup unless Szygenda's misplaying.
I mean, if you'll humor me, for a carnivorous player like Szygenda, you could say that Kryze is dealing with a trial by fire in this lane. It's a difficult situation to be in.
But we were in Europe, but apparently we've got FLICKR too.
Can we turn our eyes to the bottom lane? Crownshot, marginally up on CS, pushing very heavily here into Patrik, into Torre. Talked a little bit about this duo, especially with a focus to Gragas into the Alistar. And now with a gigantic minion wave, obviously not dive potential, they're just going to back away and get some control, push some vision back.
Yeah, basically Gragas in this matchup is just telling Alistar not to do anything, you can never go in. And then, of course, he does have some good push tools, so like if, for example, Excel wanted to stick around in this lane, they can actually push this wave in pretty easily. The AoE off of Torre's W, his Q, all of his abilities, going to be able to do that nicely, but I like this even a little bit better here. He pulls the wave a little bit, and what this means is all those minions are focus firing on the blue melee minion, which means it's going to start pushing back into Excel, back into Patrik, and these minions will be denied away from Crownshot. It's a way of denying minions that doesn't involve shoving it into the tower and having the tower killed. Sometimes the minions are your best friends in that regard, and they can do bloodshed themselves.
Yeah, that's when you call them winions. Helping out.
No, that's when they kill the Nexus.
Two. I mean, two, but
get your terminology right.
They're helping now.
You've been doing this a long time.
What would you then call them if it's
more
just killing minions in lane? We need a term for it. Maybe you don't create it right now, but Patrik will step forward as they continue to trade. I mean, this is kind of expected when we saw the draft playing out, and also the playstyles of both of these respective teams. It's the reason I kind of kicked Excel with their early game stats and showed you.
Oh, level 6, big
comes
Q.
out. There's the Feral Scream. Be able to feast in just a moment, but not going to be enough damage to take down Szygenda.
Yes, the idea here is Kryze again sustains a whole lot off of his passive, and now that Gangplank's W is down for about 20 seconds, if that next Q lands, well, now that's some serious threat onto Szygenda. If these trades do go down and you get both players around 60% HP, that's where the Cho'Gath is going to have all-in threat. But again, hard to make that happen. Bot lane.
All right, there goes the body slam. A lot of damage onto Labrov. He decides to re-engage. The cannon barrage is coming to help out. Flash away from Labrov. He stays alive. Dan's going to be the first target as Crownshot.
TP interrupted.
He's going to pick up first blood for Vitality. Teleport was interrupted. Great call there, Ender, as Dan escapes with his life. It's a 1-for-1 one, but Crowny got first blood. Skeanz is trying to get some damage down here onto Torre, and he won't be able to do more.
Yeah, Vitality throwing everything into the newest addition of the team. You had an ultimate coming out of Szygenda. Milica also tried to TP in there. Czekolad interrupts that, and it keeps it to a 1-for-1. But you notice it's a kill on a support for Excel. It's a kill on Crownshot here for Vitality, and that's going to set him up very nicely in this game. We'll check out the play again because it's Excel. They're kicking it off. Tori gets a good CC here down onto Labrov, but Dan, you'll notice, spend some time trying to zone away the Lillia. The flash then from Labrov also dodges away from the Q, and here you go, Czekolad. Nicely done. Just pushes him back underneath his tower, and that'll be no fun for him. And realistically, like, this play was very nearly a 2-for-1 for Excel. Labrov just barely escaped, and I wonder, like, Dan, maybe if he changes his ordering there, if he goes for an auto attack as opposed to the end of the line, maybe that gets them a kill. But these are very quick decisions you have to make on the fly, and at the end of it all, it will be relatively close.
And very quick difference in terms of itemization. Patrik has got the CS and the assist to his name, picks up those Swifties, comes back into lane. Crownshot, pickaxe, as well as the double Dorans and just the regular boots. But obviously MF will have that movement speed steroid built into the kit. So a lot more upfront damage. I think if those double ups can find a few targets, Patrik's going to be unhappy. But then he's got the Swifties to try and put distance between him and the minions.
Yeah, now everyone actually held onto their flash in the bot lane apart from Labrov. So that actually doesn't change many things for how this bot lane matchup is going to pan out. I will say Vitality have really good vision control around the map off of that reset. Szygenda should know Dan is here, but he still gets knocked up.
Okay, the Rupture will connect. The Silence does as well. End of the line. Dan's going to quick draw forward. Will get caught out and put to sleep in just a moment. Collateral damage comes out. Skeanz is chasing him down. Kryze gets the first of the fight and some blooming blows.
Czekolad on the way.
The backside of Dan takes him out. One more swirl seed, and despite the Rupture connecting, Czekolad can't get there in time.
Yeah, oh, bot lane fight, here we go.
It's a great engage from Labrov. Manages to get the headbutt and the pulverize. The stun will lock down Torre, but the root lands on Labrov. Crownshot continues to chase. Remember, the damage difference in this lane means Crowny and Labrov win the trade.
Milica's on the move down. Was spotted on a ward, so Excel will know what's going on. You see the immediate response, Dan also pathing down there. Things are going to take the foot off the gas, slow things down just a little bit. I think both bot lanes likely going to go back and lick their wounds off that play. But, I mean, just to rewind a little bit, like, Skeanz with a really good tracking there of Dan using that vision to punish into the top lane, and now Excel actually sticking around. We'll check out the replay first of all, because this basically shows what I was trying to say earlier on, where post level 6 with the Cho'Gath ultimate as well as the Graves ult, you have a ton of burst damage, so Szygenda does get blown up pretty quickly here. The key difference being that Skeanz is obviously in the area, so once those ultimates are blown, well, Skeanz has a lot to offer in the extended fight. So fast, so good at chasing down targets, so Dan is traded out, and if there wasn't that mid lane roam coming through from Excel's side, that's very easily a second kill there for Vitality. So while Excel have a lot of the burst damage in the top lane, they have to be careful that they also have the numbers, or they won't have Skeanz counteracting them, because you can see in a longer fight, that's where they're really going to struggle against a GP and a Lillia.
Yeah, and of course, in terms of decision-making on the Vitality side, I think Crownshot and Labrov definitely at the forefront of the plays. The initiation that Excel started, Szygenda was ready, was focused and able to chuck down that cannon barrage. Milica hit that TP instantly. Follow that up with the fact that Crownshot and Labrov then had the support of Skeanz for that gank. And Crownshot, making his debut for Vitality, is on the receiving and the front of many of Vitality's plays.
Yeah, and he just blitzed down that bot wave with his ultimate too, which is a really good decision. You can see that Labrov has vision here. They knew that the bot lane from Excel wasn't around, so that entire wave is going to be denied. That also means turret plates. Two here. Patrik trying to scout out and see if there is in fact a cow here. There is. Tori's here to help him out, so we'll just walk away, or does he?
I'm waiting to find out. Labrov will get the pulverized down. Blast code to safety. Did Labrov Hex Flash in place?
He did. He sort of did a shuffle to the left.
Started channeling it. It was like, I don't really know what I'm doing. I don't really know what I'm doing. And then
but I gotta hold on. It's the sunk cost fallacy. There's no letting go anymore.
Ends up losing the ultimate. Crownshot did use his ulti just to push this wave out and get himself a couple more plates.
That's huge. That's 3 plates in the bot side as well. I'd actually love to see the gold comparison. It's about 700 gold advantage for Crowny, but he's in trouble.
Yeah, the curtains are called. Crownshot will be forced to flash, and he gets away from the shots. Labrov, by the way, his recall did complete before the Deadly Flourish could tag him, and that meant Crownshot was left alone, obviously, inside the river. The observers have toggled over to the gold, so you can see it's plus 700 at the moment.
Yeah, that'll be the big one right there, playing around the first item spike here of Crownshot. And The rest of the team, you have TPs returning for the top laners. Milica will have a TP advantage for about a minute and a half here over his counterpart in the mid lane. So any sort of side lane move is always going to favor Vitality.
And I was looking at Labrov, no ultimate available, so I'm not anticipating an aggressive move. Despite positioning mid, it has to be defensive play, as Czekolad will have some support there from both Dan as well as Torre. And as we look down at the itemization of the Rift Herald, has been summoned. Ender, do you think we'll have a brief moment to take a little bit of a closer look at Crownshot? He just picked up the Gale Force. And the reason I do want to ask if we have a little bit of time is I want to take you back to summer of 2020, where Crownshot and Comp were both playing in the league. They were competing against one another on opposite teams. And I want to contrast their performances during the course of last summer, with specific notice on, obviously, CSD and your goal differences. You can already see Crownshot, despite not having a goal CSD right now, the goal difference is up, and he's playing well. But let's talk about the two players and how Crownshot is going to improve on what Comp could do for Vitality.
Yeah, well, you can see right there, obviously, the damage per minute very favorable for Comp. He was a big Ezreal player, which may inflate that stat a bit. But Crownshot was very strong in lane and had a lot of good work to be done with SK. And it felt like even when SK was struggling, Crownshot was always that consistent rock for the team. And now you have a Vitality lineup that is very much struggling, 1-6, even as now Sjokz has picked up a win, and he has to be the rock for the team. He's already off to a good start.
Yeah, he absolutely is. Szygenda will be able to clear the wave out, despite being caught by the Rupture. That Cannon Barrage has done so much, but look at the minimap. Look at the minimap. Vitality are grouping around Crownshot. He is flashless for now. Torre and Patrik have done enough to push the wave back and hold on.
And this is where it feels really bad for Excel, because they're putting a lot of resources into salvaging a losing lane, or a lane where you need a jungler to make anything happen. All the while, Vitality just continuing to play around Crownshot. They're already winning the 2v2 down there with the early items finished off, and Szygenda, playing that weak side, can just pop his ultimate, instantly stop anything from happening, deny any plates being traded there too. So he maintains so much pressure on this Excel bot lane, and Patrik doesn't really have any room to breathe down there.
But that's so important. You just said Szygenda, with his ultimate, able to dissuade any of the pressure. We've already seen the early game impact that Crownshot has had for Vitality, the team at 1-6. And now Szygenda has found a champion in a matchup that is somewhat favorable to buy the time that Vitality need. They're up 500 gold. They've got a Mountain Drake to their name. They're going to get another plate here as well. Well, I think it'll just time out.
Yeah, Kryze, of course, has finished off the Chem Tank as well as Lucidity Boot. So he is all about, finding a target on Vitality and blowing them up. And you have 4 prime targets that you're going to be able to burst very easily here with this Cho'Gath and this assist of any of your teammates. So even if Crownshot is having a good start to the game in the team fights, he still has to figure out a way, because he wants to really plant his feet, get his ultimate off, but there's a lot of range CC tools with the Gragas and the Cho'Gath to interrupt him, or even a TP flank to come in and just completely ruin his day. So no flash on him. He has to be careful. The rest of Excel playing towards mid. Same for Vitality here, and that's because in 40 seconds we're going to have the... Ocean Drake!
Oh,
looks for it.
Flash comes out, traded for Czekolad's flash. So ultimates and flashes were traded. Actually, Czekolad held on to the Emperor's Divide. Szygenda with the trial by fire on the parlay is doing so much damage. Remember, we were expecting this to go a little bit the other way, but Szygenda, the entire game, also having the Divine Sundra, is doing a lot of work.
Yeah, but again, in the 1v1, it's always going to be Gangplank, it feels like. It's only when you bring someone else into the equation that all of a sudden the GP feels very vulnerable.
Dun, 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 dun! I was waiting for the
What are they gonna
engage
do?
there. Labrov didn't step forward. It's 8 seconds to Ocean. I think we're setting up for the fights.
Yeah, and it looked like Kryze was trying to reset. Kryze very low HP and mana. TPing in here is not very good for him, where Szygenda, he's very much full up.
No HP, no mana, no feast for Kryze. Szygenda does need a little bit longer. His Cannon Barrage is still on cooldown, and look at your AD carries. Patrik only has a pickaxe and a Noon Quiver versus the Gale Force completed for Crownshot.
And 10 seconds on Shockwave for Milica. He's going to have a really good position here for an ultimate. Reset comes through from Kryze. He wants in.
Oh, Vitality have got Skeanz in the game, and he picks up the second pick. Labrov is currently interrupting Torre. The teleport now coming down from Kryze. Still no ultimate for him, and Szygenda's Cannon Barrage will come up very, very shortly. Vitality get out. They've got the Drake, and Kryze is looking for a target.
Labrov, can he dodge away from it? He has the flash, and he's got the better feed too. I mean, Vitality just putting on a clinic in how to play the map, because so many teams would have instantly committed the TP in from Szygenda there, and it's a 5v5 brawl in the pit. Instead, Vitality realized, hey, we actually stole the Drake. The engage tools from Excel aren't the greatest in the world. We can simply walk away from this and get the tower on top. So it's the 100% play that's always going to net you gold, and I prefer this to flipping it over a fight after the objective has already fallen.
That is huge. The tower top, plus the dragon, plus the TP from Kryze at 0 cost. and Vitality go up 1,600 gold. They've got 2 Drakes already, so we're looking towards that 4 Drake condition. And if I recall correctly, the team fight comp from Vitality, the 5v5s, you're looking pretty excited at those options, and it came down to individual execution for Excel, so they still need to find that magic moment to find the targets, but they can, and that's the scary thing.
Yeah, we'll see where they can find the angles to do it, because already Vitality with 2 early Drakes, obviously going to be very nice for them, and level 13 will be soon approaching here for the GP. Of course, means those barrels on very low wind-up time, gives them a whole lot more power and just instant playmaking options on that champion. So he's feeling very good about himself. Crownshot's now swapped up towards the top side of the map. There's no turret for them to play for, but I think Vitality realized they actually have more threat on a turret in a Szygenda lane than they do with a Crownshot lane, because of course as soon as they get matched in the 2v2, well, they can simply be cleared away pretty easily. Also with the Herald being up top side, they were thinking maybe we could be here in the area, but Excel are going to commit a lot into that Vitality just simply aren't ready for on the map. They need to get some resets off first.
Yeah, they really did. Excel will pick up that Rift Herald. They haven't picked up a tower yet, and this is now the 8th game in a row where the first tower was picked up by the opposition on Vitality. And I do want to ask you, Ender, if we look at this XL composition in the current state, down in gold a little bit, down 2 dragons, I mean, are we really looking at like a magic pick from Patrik on Jhin or Kryze, or an epic Emperor's Divide from Czekolad, or is it's not that dire? That
I'll be honest, it's not that dire. Like, okay. Vitality have a lot of good scaling options, don't get me wrong, but so do Excel, right? Like, Jhin, Azir, great, even a Cho'Gath too. Like, they have a lot of good tools themselves. I do think there is a little bit more nuance in their fight, and yes, they are going to be looking to sort of pick off a target, perhaps with an Azir or a Gragas, but the gold isn't completely out of control. It's about a 2.5, 2K gold difference between the two squads. I think the larger concern maybe for Excel is that I don't know if they have a really good answer to a GP in a side lane later on into the game, because I don't think this Cho'Gath is going to get to the point where he can one rotation through a GP. GP with the most gold in the game by far, you can see there too, is going to be in a prime position to 1v1 pretty much anyone in the game. So that's more where my concern from Excel comes, and we'll see how they can work through it.
Yeah, I just keep looking for those clickbait headlines, right? That's all I'm trying to do. But I do think it is important to again call out that you're looking for these individual outplays. You're looking for Kryze to be able to use this Chem Tank, the Flash Feast, manage to take out a key target, and allow time for Patrik to do his work. Now, I do think it is important to call out that Patrik is the 5th or the 6th most gold in the game, so he's got a lot of catching up to do. Was not the recipient of many plates. 2 towers already secured here for Vitality as we get to 20 minutes. And with a minute and a half until the Infernal Drake spawns, I think we're going to start to see some backs. I'm looking at vision, not the greatest really on either side, as Excel is setting up some defensive wards around Baron as we're about to hit that 20 minutes.
Yeah, I will say for Excel, like having the Infernal map, having a more open map is going to favor them a little bit more. I think Vitality's comp is really good at using, you know, tight chokes, walls to sort of act as an extra layer of CC in a way and force Excel into tough positions. And now the Rift Herald will be used around the mid lane, exactly how you want to see it. It takes 2 Heralds sometimes to get a tower, and that's exactly what they're going to go for. They're still walking it in there. In the meantime, Szygenda is topside, so it's a bit of a race.
This is good. The body block from Crownshot will work out, and Labrov takes another one, but forcing Milica back. Now he's got teleport available. It is still 40 seconds until Dragon, but Excel are going to use this time to litter the Vitality jungle with wards.
It is really important too that Excel put down the Sun Disc in mid lane. I actually thought they were going to play around that a little bit more and, you know, just keep the pressure up on the next minion wave, because that's actually where I feel like it might be a little bit more potent by cutting off that way into the jungle. Because you see Vitality, they say, okay, we can't go through mid lane, but we can go around it to get back in, and they're actually they have good position over this next wave. They will be able to push it first.
All right, Labrov's going to go in, gets a knock up onto Torre, sends him backwards. Torre's going low. The barrel does absolutely nothing. Teleport now going to be completed from Czekolad.
Azir on the flank.
In from behind Vitality. Vitality are caught off. Dragon is spawning as well. Whoever wins this fight gets access to the pit, and Vitality have been able to buy enough time. Keep your eyes on Czekolad. He's got the flash and he's got the ulti.
So Vitality are saying we can go into the top river here and potentially threaten bursting down this Baron, but I mean, realistically, they're trying to draw a fight here. Czekolad has a slide. He's able to get out there, but again, Dan is soloing out the Dragon right now, and Vitality really don't have the ability to force that Baron, so it will just be that objective picked up while the distraction occurs in mid lane.
Wow, the objective going to XL is huge. Yes, it did cost them the teleport. It didn't cost them more. They didn't lose further behind. They've added an additional 5 minutes to that 4-dragon soul win condition for Vitality, and that is huge. That goal difference that I was trying to make a clickbait title with earlier, now is relatively speaking irrelevant, right? Yes, Crownshot has got his second item completed while Patrik is still working on it, but there's time for Patrik to build up. They've slowed the gameplay down, and now we can just reset those timers. Baron, we're going to keep our eyes on warding around that objective and wait for the next dragon. How do you feel Excel have handled the high-pressure scenarios the last 2 moments? I feel that they've teleported in. This time they got the dragon. Previously, didn't really get away with much.
Yeah. Well, they're always going to be the team to TP in first, it feels like, because they are playing against a bit of a clock and a side lane. Skeanda's always going to have the advantage there. So Excel are the ones say, okay, we're fighting now before you can start whittling down our turrets even more or starting up an objective. So I think that is very much to be expected to see Excel trying to fly into the fight here. And I do like the way they kept it cool around the last Drake when, of course, Vitality went into that top river. Excel said, okay, Dan solo out the Drake, and maybe Vitality don't realize that's going on. Maybe Vitality just accept it simply. So it does slow things down just a little bit. And of course, I continue to sort of check in on some of these items, like Szygenda now with Ravenous Hydra on the GP. It's fun to see, you know, the new builds sort of pop up on champions after the item reworks coming through. But again, this is going to give him both effectiveness in the team fights in terms of damage, but also the side lane, right? Now that he has Sustain, Cho'Gath can no longer try to whittle him down. And, you know, Cho'Gath is never going to be able to 100 to 0 a GP, and that's where a tank Cho'Gath loses all value. You know, AP Cho'Gath, maybe it's a different story, but tank Cho'Gath, if he can't 100 to 0 you, well, in a side lane, it's not going to be very fun for him.
Not in the side lane, but if he can find a target in his team fights, maybe.
Exactly, no, but that's the difference, right? In a team fight, you have the support of a little bit of extra damage.
All right.
Let's walk it off, guys.
Yeah, the curtain is called. And the thing that I do like about this game, and the fact that it has been traded blow for blow with 23 minutes in and is about as even as you're going to get, we do actually now get to evaluate decision-making, right? Vitality, a team at 1 and 6, brought Crownshot in and have said and have spoken about its leadership, its voice, its quote-unquote macro strategy, you know, captaincy. Excel, a team that have frankly sucked in the early game more often than not, have managed to find 4 wins because of late game team fights, because of how they've played into their opponents. Now we get to equate that. Now we actually get to see what impact Crownshot can have, what this revitalized Vitality can have, and also keep in mind, they're not that practiced, right? This is a very, very late edition. And we can already see some of the vision again being challenged. It's 2 minutes to the next dragon, and Baron Ward's been cleared out here by Vitality.
And Crownshot, of course, here has gone for the Lord Dominic, so this is very much a big ultimate type of build with all that armor pen. He sees Kryze and the Cho'Gath with so much armor already built up. He says, okay, I need to work on getting through that. Torre went for the Moonstone, which is an interesting choice there on the Gragas, but of course does work to help heal up the rest of his team. He's a fake enchanter. I never expected that Gragas would be considered an enchanter support, but you know, it's 2021. Things are wild.
I do like that. We'll have to ask whether or not Gragas was what Ellis had envisioned.
Look, like quarantine's been going on for a long time. People are trying to like reimagine themselves a little bit. You know, Gragas still can't get to the gym, so he's like, you know what? I'll try to help out in other ways.
Wow, look at this. Cheeky start off. Feast plus Smite, that's a lot of true damage. Cannon Barrage will slow things down ever so slightly, but that's enough to finish. Snuck away. Excel execute Baron flawlessly.
Wow. You know what? The early game doesn't matter when you do stuff like that. Excel roll in, sneak away a Baron just that easily. And interesting to see Czekolad actually interrupted his resets. He has 2 waves to work with in the top lane. Sees a lot of Vitality players around mid, so he wants to Baron those up and potentially knock down another turret. 40 seconds away from the Infernal Drake, and even against the Baron, Vitality may want to fight it because they have full control over the bot side jungle, and that's the trade-off Excel were willing to make. The difference is, there's an Azir in the top lane, and someone has to go back to stop him at some point, or you're just going to lose an inhibitor.
Oh man, it just feels so bad, man, to see that. Now, all kudos to Excel, and I wasn't paying close enough attention to the vision to see.
I mean, they were on a ward. Like, Vitality knew what was happening. They were just on the wrong side of the map.
Yeah, touche. So just timing-wise, Excel fully aware of how quickly they can do it. And by the way, Czekolad's still relatively, you know, unabashed in this top lane. Now we'll see what Szygenda can do. 3 Sand Soldiers chucked forward. But that's 30, 40% of that inhibitor tower already killed. With Baron and Cloud minions pushing the waves, now Excel can make their way into the pit.
And again, right now, Tori is pushing mid lane, has the Baron minions there, so there's constant pressure. Kryze has an ultimate too to try and force this dragon down. Here we go.
I'll pull the curtains back. Patrik won't be able to fire all of the shots. The dragon's inside the pit. Here comes Dan as well. It's a smite fight, and it's won by Dan. Excel get the Baron. They get themselves an Infernal Drake. They get themselves out unscathed, and they are in the lead for the first time in about 20 minutes.
They're going to get a mid lane tower too. You know, Excel just are playing the map very well at this point in the game, and Vitality can't really do much of anything about it. Just that simple Baron play, that rush coming through from Excel, a great decision by them, and the game is still close, right? They were down in gold before that Baron went down. They're now up 2,000 with full control over this map, and Vitality with, you know, scrambling for answers is how do we actually punish Excel? Because like I mentioned before, like Infernal map, like it opens everything up. It becomes so much harder for Vitality to actually find the fights that they want.
And it allows Excel to just move through the jungle as they want to and steal away this Baron. Czekolad very, very easily escapes with those conquering, shifting sands. Szygenda wants to run. Let's go, grab a barrel, movement speed up. Nope, not going to be able to. Czekolad turns into, look at the minimap though, look at the minimap. Excel are using this Baron buff to push multiple.
And Szygenda on a different page to the rest of the team. He's like, I'm ultimate, we can slow it down, we can chase it, and they could have chased down the Azir there, no doubt, but it would have taken them a long time. Do they lose too much there on the other side? So the rest of Vitality backed away, but now they're out in ultimate. They're out another turret on the bot side of the map, and this is where Excel are going to say, hey, we don't need to press our luck too much. Or do they? The recall was interrupted there from Tori. They want to keep pressuring with the Baron.
I mean, Szygenda is now once again going to step forward, interrupt the barrel, movement speed comes up. That's going to be put to sleep, continue to chase. 2 members, keep your eyes on the minimap. His Emperor's Divide will buy some time. Skeanz almost goes low, but the inhibitor turret is taken down. No, correction, inner turret.
Yeah. Czekolad falls there. I feel like if he'd used his ultimate sooner before falling asleep, he would live there pretty much every single time, or simply dodged away from the ball. Regardless, that will stop this Baron from hurting anymore for the side of Vitality. And finally, the commitment towards the top side of the map pays off. Vitality can shake it off. Baron's gone. There's another Drake to fight for in 3 minutes. Let's see what we can do here, but it's a little bit more challenging at this point too, because now Jhin has a rapid fire cannon on top of an Infinity Edge. Like, that champion's going to be doing so much damage, and we'll just see how Vitality set it up. It's a ball over the wall from Frog of War. Hard to dodge away. It is moving in pretty quickly, but yeah, I think if an ultimate comes out before the slide away, that pushes Szygenda away, but now, of course, the ult not going to do too much when the damage already coming through.
And the flash coming out there from Skeanz. And use the words, you know, make the pain stop. That's what I'm wondering about right now is Excel, now they just buy more time. They've got themselves the lead. It's 2 dragons apiece. We're 2 minutes. And the thing is, the base was not broken open, and both of these teams have been relatively risk averse. You know, other than a few TP attempts around Dragon Pits, we haven't seen Excel or Vitality necessarily pushing.
I do feel like it's sort of a necessary way the game is played out is maybe it's a pick on Szygenda.
Got his flash available. Labrov will buy some time. Here comes down with the Gale Force, and the curtain call will once again be unsuccessful at finding a pick. Kryze, however, is looking for Labrov. Labrov's still got flash and ulti. Rooted in place. Deadly Flourish. Knocked up in the air. Waiting for the feast. It's 1,000 HP left on Labrov. Once again, Pulverize. Headbutt. Blast Code.
Another Blast Cone.
Blast Code. Thank you, Fire Map. The barrel comes back on Szygenda. Labrov still the target. Once more. It's Tori that gets the kill. Now we turn our attention to Czekolad. Emperor's Divide comes out, and Skeanz manages to find that kill.
Yeah, it's a good kill on the top side of the map. There are minions in mid lane. Excel will be trying to knock down this turret, but they did lose their mid laner. So will they actually be able to take it? I think if they committed, yes. They didn't realize exactly where Vitality was on the map. They weren't quite quick enough to move over there and clear away the minion wave, but some interesting plays on both side lanes. As we had mentioned, the teams were not really committing into full fights. I think that was sort of a nature of how the game has been played at different points. It's been like, we want Szygenda to be pushing a side lane when Vitality had a lead, and then as soon as Excel got a lead, it was always Czekolad in the side lane. It was playing the map more so than committing into these team fights, but now that we get to this stage of the game where objectives reign supreme, we need to rein in our side laners a little bit, make sure we're not getting caught out to any of these plays, especially when the rest of our team is set up to make a play on the opposite side of the map.
So, and to keep an eye on the minimap and some vision for me now, I think Excel, you know, you mentioned a moment ago, they stood on top of a ward and just burned through Baron so quickly. And maybe able to do that even faster as now Teleport is coming in. Czekolad coming to the inner turret as Tori is looking for options. But look, 20 seconds until Infernal. Baron is just respawning. Milica's already used the Shockwave. All it does is get the flash out of a Gragas.
He is level 16, so it's low cooldown. Here we go!
Oh man, the knockback is fantastic! Crownshot buys some time with the Hourglass, and Labrov manages to knock Czekolad back. It's a trade of Czekolad for Crowny. Kryze goes all the way forward. He's already feasted down, and Skeanz is running for his life. There's a fight between Labrov and Torre as the rest of Vitality and Excel chase themselves through
Supportal
the
combat!
And that's going to be the win for Torre. He manages to pick up the kill. Szygenda buys some additional time of his own as Patrik continues to fire out. The Deadly Flourish is sidestepped and Vitality escape. It's a 2-for-1 in favor of Excel.
Oh yeah, Excel gonna be able to turn this back towards the Baron. They've got both AD carries alive, so they're gonna blitz through this thing. Skeanz, no flash, won't be able to make it to the pit at all. Excel actually, Torre wanted the fruit. Kryze is pushing in. What are we doing, guys? We can't do the Baron anymore.
No, it feels a little bit like things might be on fire in the Excel camp because it's the Infernal Drake that they are looking for. Szygenda's respawned, teleported into the wave. Now he's in a 1v4 until Skeanz and the rest of the team can make their way up. Milica, level 16 as you've alluded to, will start to step forward and there's no cannon barrage. So let's go, Skeanz v Dan, plus Szygenda and Kryze, and it will be Vitality that steal it away. The Rupture will manage to knock up Skeanz, and Feast is available. Kryze is below 1,000 HP, and the crit is gigantic from Patrik. It's a trade of top laners.
It's just a disaster there. Dan and Kryze trying to combo their Smite plus Feast. It was not even close. Dan smites super early, and well, maybe not too early if Kryze had pressed his R button immediately, but Skeanz was there to pick up the Smite off of that one. You hate to see it.
Well, let's see whether or not it will impact the rest of the game, because as we jump into the replay...
Slow it down for me, observers. Just like, honestly, don't even smite here, Dan. Just let Kryze's ultimate will do so much, and you hate to see it. It's all on fire here. You hate to... I don't know if there's fire on our screen now, because we can do that now.
Unfortunately, it wasn't on the replay. What a time.
You didn't see it?
No.
Oh, perfect, because it was really bad.
Okay, great. That's cool. Wow, we jump into the Baron pit now. Excel down a dragon. They are going to try rush this one up. They stood right on top of a blue ward. Teleport is coming in, and the rest of Vitality are now going to be able to surround the Excel members. Labrov goes low. Ultimate's already used. He is flashless. Ender, do you want to break that down for me?
Not really.
Okay.
Let's,
What do Excel need to do to get this Baron?
Well, they're gonna have to win a team fight, Trevor. That means killing the majority of the players on Vitality.
Nice, nice. Can they do it? Kryze, can you feast someone down? Dan's not here, by the way. As I'm trying to build this one up. We've had a game here, ladies and gentlemen. As now the rest of Excel continue to push this. The pressure is just in the pit, but look at the mini-map.
Yeah.
Vitality shoving out mid, and they now have to get through XL members.
Yeah, Labrov's still very low, no flash on Crownshot. He has to play this fight very well himself. Torre looks for the cut.
All right, Szygenda gets caught out for now. No flash available just yet. Rooted down, locked out. The oranges are not going to save you today. Dan manages to pick up the kill. Kryze has already used that freeze as the curtain call will tag Milica. And the fourth and final shot goes wide. 4 members still standing for Vitality, and crucially, Shockwave plus bullet time still available.
At this point, Vitality may need to consider just pushing mid lane, because it is so hard to enter into the river. There's a Gragas knocking you away, and Cho'Gath everything. How do you get into the pit? You just can't. It goes down too fast.
Now the Swell Seed flies between all of the members of XL. Dan's going to dash forward to the Gale Force. Labrov is the next target. Milica's got that Shockwave. Keep your eyes on Crownshot. He goes in. Bullet time is channeled. It does nothing at all to XL, who secured their second Baron of the game. And they will order themselves a side of steak as they take down Labrov. Now the rest of Vitality running for their lives as XL realize, hey, they can just push through the mid lane.
Yeah, there's just too many interrupts. Crownshot can't really find a position to ult from. Even Milica now using his TP to get back into mid lane, try and hold off this push as best he can. Vitality's best shot now is playing for the Infernal Soul in 2 minutes, but Baroned up on these minions. Excel, 5 players inside the base, they're just gonna blast it open.
17 seconds for Labrov to come back. 5 versus 4 for now. No bullet time, no shockwave. There is a cannon barrage. It'll buy some time, but it's into Baron-empowered minions. And good luck dealing with Kryze, who has got 10 bajillion hit points.
Torre!
Crowny gets knocked back, forced to flash with his life, and Torre will body slam over the wall, finally being taken down by Skeanz. That's 1 kill for Vitality. That may buy enough time for them to hold. Excel backing away.
It keeps the inhibitor tower and the inhibitor alive there for Vitality, but you notice both top and bot very low. Here we go, pick on the Czekolad.
All right, he manages to use the wall this time round and escapes with his life. That was the flash used from Labrov, plus the shockwave from Milica. But they've got time. Vitality, a minute to go before the Infernal Soul is available to contest.
It's just so hard here, though. I mean, a Bloodthirster now finished for Patrik. The flash didn't have to be blown there from Czekolad either. So again, finding this team fight for Vitality still feels so incredibly challenging for them. How can they find a way to steal away the Drake again? Will Excel fumble it in those micro moments around the objective? Because again, even just down 3K, it feels like the way fights have been playing out, it is just really hard for Vitality to execute, especially when these summoners are down.
I'm just trying to count, how much HP does Kryze have right now? 5, 1, 2, 3, 4.
I
That's
can...
5,500 HP.
Yeah,
I'm counting that correctly.
Trevor, 5,513.
That is ridiculous, and 13 is an unlucky number. We know that. That means Vitality are in trouble. They need to get through the unlucky 13. Vitality start this fight off. That's a channel coming out from Labrov. Will not be able to use the Hex Flash well. Dan takes a gigantic chunk of damage. But
look at this.
They want the Nexus.
Yeah,
They're just going for
Excel can just run down mid. We got this beautiful split map because both soul laners going to be pushing forward. Excel, the trio down here just have to stop recalls.
Why are you on the dragon?
They need the soul, but then they need to get back to base. So one is going to be able to recall. Orianna will go back to base, and they get some kills. This could be good if they can get back in time.
Can they hold? Can they hold?
Oh, I don't think they can. No.
Czekolad and Kryze, they're on to the Nexus.
It's all over.
Members of Vitality around, and the Nexus will get taken down. Excel take down Vitality.
In the moment, I respect the call from Vitality. Going for the soul when you know you're losing team fights. They just couldn't quite get back to base in time. They tried to turn for the kills. It did not work out in the end, and it is Excel's mid-game playing that again carries them to victory here. Going for the 25-minute Baron. Just out of nowhere, they saw that Vitality were on the wrong side of the map completely. Even on Vision, they started it up. They just didn't care because they knew they could get it down in time.
They did, and that Baron is what unlocked the game. It was Vitality with a minor advantage up until the Baron. And then some interesting team fights and individual performances throughout the course of that game. I am glad how you framed the decision to go for Soul on Vitality, because my gut read was, that's terrible, that's awful. But you are right. If Czekolad by some miracle can hold for a few seconds, that's the only way Vitality could come back in.
Yeah, it's like either you lose slowly and, you know, without putting up a fight, or you draw the line somewhere.
Yes.
I think drawing the line is definitely the way to do it. I also liked some of the choices we saw from Vitality early on, right? Stealing away a Drake, maybe not committing the TP in, trying to go for turrets as well. So there was a lot of nice decisions that I saw throughout the game, but ultimately it just came down to the one decisive Baron that really just broke open the game, gave Excel all the gold they needed to ride that to victory.
Kudos to Excel. Your key up player of the game nominees are at LEC on Twitter, Kryze, Patrik, or Torre. We'll soon see our reigning champions in action as they look to prove that last week's loss to Fnatic was just a blip on the radar. Yeah, I did not read that well. I did not see the other side.
I don't really consider it gear. It's an extension of who I am. It blurs the line between fantasy and reality. Sometimes, I can't tell myself from my machine. I think that's by design.
ADC Excel on a 3-game winning streak right now as they just defeated Vitality and Torre. Thank you so much for joining me right now. I want to talk about the end of the game to begin with. Let's roll the replay right now and tell me about the decision making during the game, because Vitality were rushing for the soul, of course, but you had the Nashor, you had the minion buffs. So yeah, let me know about the decision making here and why you chose to rush to the Nexus.
I think we just realized that they left the wave unattended. They have no inhib, right? So we are pretty fast turret takers. I think we just realized that we could cancel them, right, and then end the game, because they were previously in the game also leaving a lot of waves unattended. So I think in the back of our mind we probably all thought that they would just not think about it.
I agree with you, and to me it feels like the decision that made the most sense here, especially for you. What do you think about Vitality's decision making in this moment?
I mean, they probably felt a lot of pressure, from the way they were playing as well earlier. They grouped up a lot, they dropped a lot of side waves, so we kind of talked about it in comms, so they're dropping a lot, we're getting very ahead from this, and it felt like they were... It kind of felt like they were playing on a timer and we were not. We have a bit balanced champions in Azir, Cho'Gath, so we kind of felt in the driver's seat in our game.
All right, I'm panicking a bit here and there from Vitality, but now I want to focus on you, of course, because you said something on Twitter before your game today. You tweeted, "I can't wait to sin on the Rift today." So tell me, were you a sinner on the Rift?
No, today I bought what's it called, Moonstone. Yeah, I've been experimenting a bit with Gragas builds. Not sure if it's still good, but I thought my boy LS would be pleased with that item. And yeah, I guess I was happy with my champion pick. I felt like I did some good stuff in team fights here and there. Choked a bit on a dive, almost killing MF, but I'm okay with what I did.
All right, well, yeah, nice champ, creative build, but I mean, I looked it up online, and most of the time when you see support play Gragas on the bot lane, they tend to build Night Harvester as a mythic item. So why did you go for the Moonstone here?
Well, usually you can go kind of more poke style with combat, inspiration, but I think, I guess maybe for me, I'm more used to playing Aftershock. I think it's pretty good against Alistar as well, because there will be some brawls once in a while. I feel like Aftershock has just been a good rune ever since it got released, and I guess it's a safe for noobs as well, because you don't get one shot, right? And I guess it just feels comfortable.
Safe, yeah. And nice to bring some utility into the team. But Torre, thank you so much for the interview. And yeah, good luck against Fnatic tomorrow. Going to be a tough matchup maybe for you guys.
Yeah.
We'll see about that. Story for another day. But thank you so much for the interview. And we're going to take a break now. And we'll come back in a few minutes for G2 versus Misfits. Stay tuned.